Well, next I'd like to hear from Rhonda Kinney. Rhonda is resisting false allegations at this point. I think it would be a good characteristic way to say that. Also from Allegan County. So thanks for coming.
My name is Rhonda, and I had a case in Kent County 8 years ago. I had my fourth child. I have chronic illness, and I was put on Paxil. And when I went into labor, they asked me had I ever had any, did any drugs or alcohol. I said, well, actually, last night I had some Boone's Farm Strawberry Hill mixed with cranberry juice. I had a small glass of that thinking I would relax a little bit. I never started my own labor with my other 3 children. I had the baby. She had pulmonary issues, so she was blue, having trouble breathing. They got that all underway, and within 4 hours of me having her, CPS came in and said that they were removing my children, that I had fetal alcohol syndrome with my baby. So they took my children, kept my baby in the hospital. I slept in the parking lot at Butterworth Hospital. When we went to court, they ended up giving me the baby, but my other 3 children were removed on the basis that they missed 56 days of school. In a tragic house fire the day before Halloween, we lost everything, our dogs and everything, but we all got out safe. 3 weeks later, we had people donate items, and one of them was a crib. It was recalled. We didn't know that it was stored in someone's garage, and the mattress dropped. The lock pin was defaulted on it, and my daughter suffocated my baby. So they said that I was using drugs and all these things. Well, when I got the report from the hospital, instead of saying that I had a half a glass of wine that night, they said that I drank 2 bottles of wine a week throughout my whole pregnancy. They began drug testing. Christy Alexander was my child protective service worker. She alleged that every drug test that I took for them came back dirty. And I had a wonderful, wonderful lawyer who is now judge in Kent County Court, advised me every time they have you do a drug test, go someplace else and have another one done. And I did. I had a hair follicle test every time I did a urine test. When we got into court, it took 10 months, and we won because she waived her papers. She's still dirty with marijuana. I don't smoke marijuana. And the hair follicle test, he asked the PS worker, what do you think is more strong evidence, a urine test or a hair follicle test? And they said a hair follicle test. And he said, well, Rhonda, every drug test she's done has come back clean. So would you retract your statement, or do you want to investigate this further? And she retracted her statement. I had a very strong judge. I have a lot of respect for her, but she's tough. And she scolded everyone in that courtroom. And I was very proud because she told them, until you have evidence and quit picking on this lady, do not bring this back to court, because the children will be under my care for the next however many years. So we moved out of Kent County into Allegan County. We've been there almost 6 years. Kids are really good. They're very active in the church. They're very active in community service. They do a lot of volunteering and all the sports, everything, basketball, they have football, cheerleading. My oldest daughter is coaching cheerleading for the middle school, and I have a 12-year-old daughter that when the children were removed and placed with their father, had been sexually molested at 5 years old. When I got her back, she would smash her head into the wall, and she started self-mutilating. She's now 12. We had an incident where I found her having inappropriate contact with one of the boys that was a little older. And I asked her, I said, Lisa, what are you doing? And she said, fuck you. I just, out of just total shock, my children don't talk to me that way. I smacked her in the mouth. She pushed me into the wall and started kicking me. She's bipolar personality disorder, very manic. I haven't been able to get anybody to help. She's been to Pine Rest twice. They leave her in there for 4 days, send her home, nothing's different. Counseling, nothing's different. Nobody will diagnose her officially because she is too young to put a label on. Well, I ended up she looked at me and she said, I'm gonna kill you. I hate you and I'm gonna kill you. And I have 2 other children that were sitting right there, and they were, holding her and trying to get her to be calm. I didn't know what to do. I know that in previous incidences, I call the police and they say, Lisa, you need to calm down, go to your room, whatever. Or why don't we let her stay at a friend's house, which is putting the liability on innocent people. She's not allowed to stay at other people's homes. So I decided that she was very out of control, and I was very frightened that she would either kill herself, run away, or hurt one of us, especially me, because she was very angry. So I gave her prescription trazodone to get her to sleep, and I had put washcloths around her wrists and duct taped them together so she couldn't get out and do anything without me knowing. I put her in my bed, which is a king-size bed, so I could feel her wrestle to get out. And I called the police in the morning. And I said my other 2 kids went to school because I didn't want to have all that going on with my other 2 kids in the house. I called the police, and the police officer came, and he's like, well, she should be in school. I said, okay, but it's the last week of school, and she's going to disrupt the whole classroom. She's had attempted suicide twice at the school already. Ambulance a couple times drive her away. So they ended up calling Protective Services. Protective Services came. They did a whole look over and everything, and they talked to her, and she was fine. No bruises, no marks. They came to my house, talked to me, asked me what happened. I told them. They talked to my older 2 children. They said the same exact thing. Everybody had the same story. And so they wanted an interview at Safe Harbor for her sexual relation. So that all happened. I called the police on a Thursday morning. The kids were in my care till Monday. We went to Safe Harbor for the interview. My oldest 2 were in school, and my daughter came out, and the prosecuting attorney asked for me to come outside with the police officer, and I said, am I getting arrested? And they said, just please cooperate, put your hands on the vehicle. And I was handcuffed and placed at Allegan County Jail. I went through booking. I stayed the night. The next day they came in, read me my rights, and gave me my charges. I have 4 felonies, 2 25-year, 2 15-year, and from this incident. And so she actually was the one that abused me. I had bruises that I sent pictures and everything. And so while I was in jail for 6 days until they got the bond money. They had me sign that they could stay with their dad until I got out. So I thought. When I got out, I found out that they are now officially foster care children of Allegan County that live with their father, and that they were supposed to have insurance, and we were supposed to have family counseling. It's been 8 weeks almost, and they have no insurance. My child that has bipolar has no medication. She's Facebooking some very obscene things right now, so she's been pretty active without medication in the last week. And my other daughter has polycystic ovary syndrome. She has insulin resistance. She has low blood pressure. they have no medicine for her, and nobody will return the call. I did get one visit with my 12-year-old daughter and seen that they had pierced her cartilage up here twice without my consent or even asking me. When I text the picture and the question to the CPS worker, well, she's the foster care worker, Leah Brown, she said, you know what? You're too much. You just bother me too much. You leave too many messages, you ask too many questions, and I am busy. And thankfully, I have the record my call on my phone now, thanks to these fine people that help me understand better how this works. So I have everything recorded. I have my children, the last visit I had, they are turned pretty much against me. The Leah Brown tells them that I am not complying. Of course, because I asked too many questions and questioned why they don't have insurance. So my lawyer has had to come from Grand Rapids all the way down to Allegan to try to find her, will not return the calls for my attorney. And my attorney went to her supervisor with no eval. And then it's become a nightmare. I go the 1st of August to my first criminal court date, and I don't know what to even think as far as what, I'm looking at 4 felonies. I could be looking at life, and they have my child who is not on any medication, and I fear that she will hurt somebody or herself, and I pray that she does not commit suicide. It's just a very confusing state. They have undermined me, especially with the fact that letting my children go to their fathers and then labeling it as foster care. I don't understand how it can be foster care when they're with their own parent. We went to Kent County Court, and my ex-husband has temporary custody, so they shouldn't be under foster care. So Allegan County has a restraining order on me for my children. I am not to speak to them or visit them without one certain person. And this one certain person is a very poisonous person. She puts her own words in my children's head, and she hates my youngest daughter. I just am waiting to see what happens once we get through the criminal on August 1st, what is going to eventually happen with the children. Like I said, we've been almost 8 weeks. I have no contact at all, except for the one phone call when I text her the picture of my daughter's ear at 12 years old getting 2 piercings in her cartilage. She's already a little off anyway, and that was a call to tell me to quit calling and texting her. So if I can't get this woman who's supposed to be reunifying my family, I've been an at-home mom for 17 years, prominent member in my community, and I don't understand how they can do this on the word of an extremely emotional girl. But they feed more into it and more into it and more into it. And she's to the point where she called my ex-husband and said, well, that boy that that mom found me with, she, and all the reports said that she was raped. She called my ex-husband a couple days ago and said that, well, mom's trying to get him prosecuted. It's like, okay, so was it consensual or was it rape? What are you supposed to? So this is a kind of child that I'm dealing with, and in the law, I read that under protective services, if you know that your child is in indefinite danger of a situation, and you do not protect them, then you can be held in neglect. I did exactly what I thought I was supposed to be doing by protecting myself, my other children, and her from self-mutilating, from suicide, or from running out of the house. She has 2 police reports that says she sneaks out the window or goes out the door once we're all sleeping. And one of my charges is for neglect, because when all this was happening, everybody was sleeping in the house. So I've had to screw the windows shut, and that is against the law. That's imprisonment as well. So I just want to say that I'm sorry for everyone that is here. Obviously, you all have your own stories. I am very grateful that I have the ability to put all my time and energy into helping the organization and other people like myself and yourself. I think what they are doing is a terrible thing. There are children that need help, but they're picking on the wrong people. I have 2 sex offenders on either side of my home right now who have children that are being molested, and they let them keep their children. So it's a very, very political thing with the state and the government and who knows who. And I live in Allegan County, as you heard that one lady. It's a very small town. Everybody knows everybody. So you watch your P's and Q's and you walk a certain way. And I am unfortunately not a very quiet person when it comes to my children. I'm the nicest person you could ever meet. But when it comes to my children, I stand up for them, and I will stand up for them, and I will bring this, just like she did, all the way to the Supreme Court, if that's as far as I have to go. That's my story, and I wish you all the best.
Well, thank you, Rhonda. You heard a story of a mom who did her best. I had lunch with my brother and some relatives just the other night, and was saying how being a parent makes the parent grow up. It's a growing experience to be a parent. You don't always know what to do. Rhonda did her best and then asked for some help and got herself confronted with just an awful lot of persecution. And you wonder what's behind that, what's going on, why does it happen, what's the motive, and we'll talk a little bit more on that also.